She married him for 1 year, but he fell first. Their marriage was supposed to be fake. The heartbreak was not. Avery Lane understood the rules before she signed her name. 1 year, no love, no jealousy, no asking for more than what was written in the contract. She would marry Nathaniel Cross, the coldest CEO in Manhattan, help him secure his inheritance, smile beside him at charity galas, wear his ring in public, and disappear quietly when the agreement ended. In return, he would pay off her father's medical debt, save her little sister's college fund, and give Avery enough money to stop living every month. Like one unexpected bill could destroy her. It was not romantic. It was not beautiful. It was survival. And survival had never cared whether a heart was ready. The first time Avery met Nathaniel Cross, he did not look like a man asking for help. He looked like a man who had never needed anyone in his life. Tall, controlled, impeccably dressed in a black suit that probably cost more than Avery's car. His dark hair was neat, his watch was expensive, and his face held the kind of calm that made other people nervous. They met in a private room on the 47th floor of Cross Tower, with Manhattan glittering beneath the windows and a contract sitting between them like a loaded weapon. Nathaniel did not offer her coffee. He did not ask if she was comfortable. He only looked at her with unreadable grey eyes and said, "Miss Lane, I assume my attorney explained the terms." Avery sat straight in the leather chair, hands folded in her lap so he would not see them tremble. She explained enough. "Then you understand this is not a relationship." "I wasn't under that impression." His gaze moved briefly over her face, as if checking for weakness. "Good. Let him look." Avery had spent the past 3 years learning how not to fall apart in front of people who could afford to be careless. Her father's stroke had changed everything. Before that, life had been hard but manageable. Avery worked at a neighborhood bakery in Queens, took freelance design jobs at night, and helped her younger sister, Lily, apply to colleges with financial aid tabs open in every browser window. Then her father collapsed behind the counter one morning while making cinnamon rolls. The hospital bills came first, then the rehab costs, then the debt collectors, then the quiet humiliation of choosing which bill could be ignored for one more week. Avery had been 27 and already tired in ways people were not supposed to be tired yet. So when a woman named Carolyn Pierce approached her through a legal aid connection and said a private client needed a temporary wife, Avery laughed in her face. Then Carolyn showed her the number. Avery stopped laughing. Now she sat across from Nathaniel Cross, the man who needed a wife but looked like he hated the idea of needing one. "Why me?" Avery asked. Nathaniel leaned back slightly. "Because you have no public scandals, no strong social media presence, no interest in fame, and a compelling personal background that will make the arrangement believable." Avery stared at him. "That may be the coldest compliment I've ever received." It was not intended as a compliment. Clearly, his attorney, seated beside him, cleared her throat. Nathaniel ignored her. "My grandfather's will requires me to be married for 1 full year before I inherit controlling shares of Cross Industries." He believed marriage proved stability. Avery looked at the contract. "And you believe marriage proves what? That dead men enjoy creating problems?" She almost smiled. Almost. Nathaniel noticed. Something flickered in his eyes and vanished. "The marriage must appear genuine," he continued. "You will live in my home, attend public events, wear the ring, refer to me as your husband when necessary, and privately, we will live separate lives. That sounds easy for you." His expression did not change. "It is." Avery did not know why that answer bothered her. It should have reassured her. This was a business arrangement, nothing more. She lifted the contract and read the rules again. No romantic expectations, no interference in personal affairs, no public disagreement, no discussion of the agreement with third parties. After 12 months, both parties would separate quietly and cite private incompatibility. Private incompatibility. Such a clean phrase for a planned ending. Avery reached the final page. There, beneath all the legal language, Nathaniel had added 3 handwritten rules. "Do not mistake kindness for attachment. Do not ask questions about my family. Do not fall in love with me. Avery looked up. Do women usually need that warning? Nathaniel's face hardened. No. Then why write it? Because people become irrational when they confuse proximity with intimacy. Avery signed before she could think too long about it. Then she placed the pen down and looked him directly in the eye. Don't worry, Mr. Cross. I've met enough cold men in my life to know the difference between warmth and central heating. For the first time, Nathaniel Cross had no immediate answer. 3 weeks later, Avery married him in a courthouse. She wore a simple ivory dress from a consignment shop. He wore another perfect black suit. There were no flowers, no music, no family, only his attorney, her best friend Mia, and a judge who had performed enough strange weddings in New York to stop asking questions. When the judge told Nathaniel he could kiss the bride, Avery felt him hesitate, just for half a second. Then he leaned down and kissed her cheek. Not her mouth, her cheek. Polite, distant, controlled. A fake kiss for a fake marriage. Mia cried anyway. Avery glared at her. Mia mouthed, I can't help it. Nathaniel's driver took them to his penthouse afterward. The building had a private elevator, silent floors, and the lobby so polished Avery felt guilty walking across it in affordable shoes. His apartment occupied the top 2 floors. Not apartment, that was too small a word. It was glass, stone, steel, art she did not understand, and silence arranged expensively across too much space. The windows overlooked the city, like Nathaniel owned every light in it. Avery stood in the living room, holding one suitcase. This place echoes. Nathaniel removed his cufflinks. It's not empty. I didn't say empty. I said it echoes. That distinction matters to you. Yes. He studied her. Why? Because empty means nothing is there. Echo means something is missing. For a moment, Nathaniel went still. Then he turned away. Your room is upstairs. Second door on the left. My room is at the opposite end of the hall. Romantic. This is not romance. You keep reminding me. You keep making jokes. That's how people survive uncomfortable situations. Try silence. I did. It echoes. He looked at her again. And this time Avery thought she saw the faintest trace of annoyance. Good. At least he was not made entirely of marble. The first month of marriage passed like a performance. Neither of them wanted to rehearse. Nathaniel woke at 5. Avery woke at 7. He drank black coffee and read financial reports. She drank tea with honey and answered bakery scheduling messages from her old manager. He left for work in tailored suits. She stayed in the penthouse, learning the strange geography of wealth. Which elevator went to the garage? Which cabinet held the dishes no one used? Which staff members were kind? Which were afraid of Nathaniel? And which were both? At public events, she became Mrs. Cross. Nathaniel's hand rested at the small of her back with perfect timing. His smile appeared when cameras lifted. His voice softened only enough to be believable. My wife, he would say, introducing her. The words always felt like borrowed jewelry. Beautiful, expensive, not hers. The tabloids loved her. Mystery woman marries billionaire CEO. Nathaniel Cross's secret romance. From Queens to the penthouse. Who is Avery Lane? Avery hated every headline. Nathaniel read none of them, or pretended not to. You're trending, Mia said over the phone one night. I want to disappear. You married a billionaire CEO. Disappearing may be difficult. I married a contract with cheekbones. Mia laughed. Is he as cold at home as he looks in photos? Avery glanced across the living room. Nathaniel stood by the window, speaking quietly into his phone. He had loosened his tie. His reflection looked tired, though his voice remained perfectly steady. Yes, Avery said. Then, softer, mostly. The first crack in Nathaniel's coldness appeared on a rainy Thursday. Avery had spent the afternoon at the hospital with her father. He was improving slowly, but slowly was expensive. He asked about the ring. She lied. She said Nathaniel was busy but kind. Her father smiled weakly and said, kind is better than charming. Charming men usually want something. Avery almost laughed. Nathaniel wanted something, all right. A year of her life. Avery returned to the penthouse soaked, exhausted, and carrying the smell of disinfectant in her clothes. Nathaniel was in the kitchen, reading an email on his phone. He looked up. "You're late." She blinked. "I didn't know I had a curfew. We have dinner with the Whitmores in 40 minutes. I texted Carolyn." "You texted my attorney." "Not me. You said we live separate lives." His jaw tightened. "In public. We coordinate." "Fine, I'll change." She started toward the stairs, but her wet shoe slipped on the marble. Nathaniel crossed the room faster than she expected and caught her by the elbow. His hand was warm, firm, too careful. For one breath, they stood close enough that Avery could see the faint shadow beneath his eyes. Then he released her. "You're shaking. I'm wet. You're pale. I'm tired. Where were you?" She remembered the handwritten rule. "Do not ask questions about my family." Apparently, that rule only worked one way. At the hospital, his expression changed. "Your father?" "Yes. Is he worse?" The question was quiet, not polite, genuine. That made her more defensive, not less. "He's alive," which is currently our standard for a good day. Nathaniel looked at her for a long moment. Then he took off his suit jacket and placed it around her shoulders. Avery froze. "What are you doing?" "You're cold. I know how jackets work." "Then use it." She should have refused. Instead, she pulled it tighter around herself. It smelled like clean cotton, rain, and him. Nathaniel turned back to the counter, but his voice changed. "I'll cancel dinner." Avery looked up. "You don't cancel things." "I do when my wife is ill." "I'm not ill." "No, you're exhausted." "Same difference in your world. In my world, people ignore both until they collapse." The sentence was too honest. Avery watched him. "Is that what you do?" His face closed. "Yes." Then he walked away before she could ask anything more. That night, dinner was cancelled. Avery fell asleep on the sofa in Nathaniel's jacket. When she woke 2 hours later, there was a blanket over her and a bowl of soup on the coffee table. Nathaniel was nowhere in sight. The next morning, his handwritten rule on the contract bothered her more than before. "Do not mistake kindness for attachment." Too late, she thought. Not because she was attached. Not yet. But because she had seen kindness. And once seen, it was much harder to pretend he had none. Nathaniel fell first, though no one would have believed it. Not Avery. Not Carolyn. Not even Nathaniel himself. It happened quietly, dangerously, in moments too small for him to defend against. He noticed the way Avery thanked every staff member by name. He noticed how she left cookies for the night security guard because she found out his daughter liked chocolate chip. He noticed that she talked to the plants in his apartment because, according to her, living things do better when someone acknowledges the effort. He noticed she never asked him for gifts, never used his credit cards except for agreed expenses, never tried to make herself larger in his world. At first, he respected it. Then he admired it. Then he began looking for her in rooms before he remembered not to. At a charity gala in December, a senator's wife cornered Avery near the champagne table. Nathaniel saw it from across the ballroom. The woman's smile was sharp. Avery's smile was polite. Too polite. By the time Nathaniel reached them, he heard the woman say, "It must be overwhelming, stepping into Nathaniel's world so suddenly. I imagine there are many things one has to learn." Avery's eyes did not change. "Yes," she said. "For example, I've learned some people can insult you without ever risking." A direct sentence. Nathaniel nearly coughed. The senator's wife blinked. Avery took a sip of sparkling water. "Luckily, I grew up in Queens. We're bilingual in polite and direct." Nathaniel stepped beside her. "Mrs. Whitmore, I see you've met my wife." The word came more easily than it should have. "My wife." Avery glanced at him. There was amusement in her eyes. Mrs. Whitmore retreated gracefully. Nathaniel watched her go. Then he looked at Avery. "You enjoyed that?" "I did. You insulted a major donor." She started it. "That is not a legal defense." "It should be." He almost smiled. Avery saw it. Her expression softened in surprise. "You can do that?" "Do what?" "Almost look human." The smile disappeared, but not quickly enough. Later that evening, photographers caught them standing on the balcony. Avery had stepped outside because the ballroom was too warm. Nathaniel followed because he told himself it was his job to make sure she was not ambushed by more donors. Snow drifted over the city. Avery leaned on the railing, looking down at the traffic below. "Do you ever get tired of all this?" she asked. "All what? Being watched, being perfect, being Nathaniel Cross?" He looked at her. No one asked him that. People asked for decisions, money, signatures, approval. They did not ask if he was tired of being himself. "Yes," he said. The word surprised them both. Avery did not make a joke. She only nodded. "My mother used to say the most exhausting cage is the one everyone else calls a throne." Nathaniel looked away. "She sounds wise." She was also dramatic. "She once called our broken dishwasher a domestic betrayal." This time, Nathaniel did smile. Small, brief, real. Avery stared at him. "What?" "Nothing. You have the expression of someone witnessing a rare bird. I sort of am." He looked at her then. Snow caught in her hair. Her cheeks were pink from cold. The city lights reflected in her eyes. Something moved in his chest, unfamiliar and unwelcome. He wanted to brush the snow from her hair. He wanted to know every dramatic thing her mother had ever said. He wanted the balcony doors to stay closed and the world behind them to disappear. Instead, he said, "We should go inside." Avery's face changed, as if she had felt the moment too, and was relieved he had ended it. "Right," she said, "public performance." But as they returned to the ballroom, Nathaniel realized something with quiet horror. For the first time, the performance had been inside, and the truth had been out in the cold. By February, the rules began failing. No love, that one became dangerous. No jealousy, that one broke first. His name was Ethan Cole, and Nathaniel disliked him immediately. Ethan was Avery's friend from childhood, a firefighter, naturally, because apparently it was not enough for him to be handsome in a warm, approachable way. He also had to save people for a living. He came to the bakery one afternoon while Nathaniel was waiting outside in the car. Avery had insisted on stopping by to help her old manager prepare Valentine's orders. Nathaniel had calls to make, so he waited. Then he saw Ethan arrive with coffee, hug Avery too long, and make her laugh in a way that seemed painfully easy. Nathaniel told himself it meant nothing. Then Ethan brushed flour from Avery's cheek with his thumb. Nathaniel ended 3 conference calls in 4 minutes. When Avery returned to the car, she looked cheerful. That irritated him more. "Who was that?" She buckled her seatbelt. "Ethan," I gathered. "Then why ask? How do you know him?" Avery turned. "Is this a husband question or a contract question?" Nathaniel looked ahead. "It's a practical question. Public perception matters." Public perception was inside a bakery eating raspberry turnovers. If someone sees you being hugged by a friend, a male friend. She stared at him, then laughed. Nathaniel's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "I don't see what's amusing. You're jealous." "I'm not. You are. I'm concerned about optics. Your optics are turning green." He looked at her. Avery's smile faded slowly. Something changed in the air between them. "Nathaniel," she said carefully, "you don't get to be jealous." He knew that. He had written that rule himself. "I'm aware. Are you?" "No." The honesty surprised him. It surprised her too. For several seconds, neither spoke. Then Avery looked out the window. "Ethan is like family." Nathaniel hated how relieved he felt. "That's none of my business." "No, it isn't." But she had told him anyway. That night, Nathaniel did not sleep. He stood in his office long after midnight, reading the contract again. His own words stared back at him. No love, no jealousy, no staying after 1 year. They had seemed reasonable when he wrote them. Now they looked like a man building walls around a house he had not realized he wanted to live in. March brought Nathaniel's past to the door. Her name was Vivian Hart, an art collector, a socialite, his former fiancée. She appeared at a museum opening in a silver dress and greeted Avery with the smile of a woman who knew exactly where to place a knife. "You must be Avery," she said. Nathaniel always did have surprising taste when he wanted to upset his family. Avery smiled. "You must be Vivian. Nathaniel never mentioned you." Nathaniel, standing beside them, felt the impact before Vivian did. Vivian's eyes sharpened. "How refreshing." Avery tilted her head. "I thought so." Vivian looked at Nathaniel. "She's charming. She's standing right here," Avery said. Nathaniel almost smiled. Vivian turned back to her. "I hope he warned you about. He's very good at making a woman feel chosen, while choosing nothing at all." Avery did not respond immediately. Nathaniel felt something cold pass through him. Vivian was not wrong. Years ago, she had wanted marriage, partnership, public affection, private tenderness. Nathaniel had given her a ring and nothing else. He had been polite, faithful, generous, empty. When she left, she told him marrying him would feel like freezing slowly in a beautiful room. He had not argued, because even then, he knew she was right. Avery looked at him now, and he could not read her expression. That was worse than anger. On the ride home, she was quiet. Too quiet. Nathaniel finally said, "Vivian and I were engaged 3 years ago. I figured. It ended before the wedding. I figured that too." He looked at her. She was right. Avery turned slightly. "About what?" "I was not good to her." Avery waited. Nathaniel looked out at the city passing beyond the window. "I didn't betray her. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't humiliate her. I did everything correctly." "That sounds like you." "She wanted someone who would let her in, and you didn't." "No." "Why?" There it was. The family question. The one he had forbidden. "Do not ask questions about my family." Nathaniel could have ended the conversation. A month ago, he would have. Instead, he said, "Because everyone who ever came close to my family learned to use what they found." Avery's face softened. "My mother married my father for money," he continued. "He married her for appearances. They hated each other politely for 20 years. My grandfather praised emotional discipline. It was a religion. In our house, love was either a transaction or a weakness. That doesn't mean you have to live that way. No, but children learn the temperature of the room they grow up in." Avery looked down at her hands. For a long time, she said nothing. Then she reached across the car and placed her hand over his. Nathaniel went still. The touch was simple, not romantic, not demanding. That made it worse. "I'm sorry," she said. He looked at their hands. "For what?" "That no one taught you warmth." The words entered him quietly and stayed. Nathaniel turned his hand beneath hers, not holding, not exactly, but not letting go either. When they reached the penthouse, Avery started toward her room. Nathaniel said her name. She stopped. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For seeing the difference between coldness and someone who was never taught how to be warm." Avery's expression trembled, just slightly. Then she said, "Don't make me regret it. I'll try not to." That night, Nathaniel broke another rule. He stood outside Avery's bedroom door for almost a minute, wanting to knock. Then he walked away. He had no right to want comfort from the woman he was supposed to release. The year bent toward summer. The city softened. Trees turned green along Park Avenue. Cafes opened their windows. Avery began placing flowers in the penthouse, ignoring Nathaniel's claim that minimalist interiors did not require aggressive daisies. He complained. She ignored him. The apartment stopped echoing. That frightened him more than the silence ever had. In June, Avery's father had another medical scare. Nathaniel found her in the hospital hallway at 2 a.m, sitting beneath fluorescent lights with her shoes off and her face in her hands. She had not called him. Carolyn had seen the paparazzi outside the hospital and alerted him. Nathaniel arrived still wearing his suit from a board dinner. Avery looked up. "What are you doing here?" He sat beside her. "You're my wife." Publicly. He loosened his tie. "Tonight, privately too." Her eyes filled instantly. She looked away. "Don't be kind if you don't mean it." "I mean it." "You don't know what that means." "No," he said, "but I'm learning." That broke her. Avery leaned into him, and Nathaniel wrapped his arms around her carefully. as if she was something sacred and he had been trusted with the only fragile thing in the world. She cried against his shirt. He held her. No cameras, no contract, no audience, just Avery, exhausted and afraid, and Nathaniel silently making a promise he had no legal language for. Her father stabilized before dawn. Avery fell asleep in the waiting room chair, her head on Nathaniel's shoulder. He did not move for 3 hours. Not when his neck stiffened, not when his phone filled with missed calls, not when a nurse smiled knowingly at them. For the first time in his life, Nathaniel let the world wait. In July, he realized he loved her. Not dramatically, not during a kiss, not in the middle of some grand confession. He realized it because Avery caught a cold. A ridiculous, ordinary cold. She insisted she was fine while sneezing every 6 minutes and wearing a blanket around the penthouse like a tragic queen. Nathaniel cancelled the meetings. She accused him of hovering. He made soup. She accused him of trying to poison her with wellness. He brought medicine. She accused him of enjoying control. He sat beside her on the sofa and read quietly, while she fell asleep during a terrible cooking show. Halfway through the episode, her head slipped onto his shoulder. Nathaniel looked down at her. Her hair was messy. Her nose was red. One hand clutched a tissue like a battle flag. She was not polished, not performing, not Mrs. Cross, just Avery. And the thought came without warning. I want this tomorrow, then another, and the day after, and the day after that. The realization was so simple it terrified him. He loved her. He loved the woman he had paid to leave. August arrived like a threat. 4 months left. Avery felt the countdown too. Nathaniel saw it in the way she pulled back whenever their hands touched too long, the way she stopped leaving her books in the living room, the way she began saying your apartment again instead of home. One evening, he found her packing winter clothes into a storage box. His chest tightened. What are you doing? Organizing. It's August. I know. You're packing. She folded a sweater. I won't need these before the contract ends. The words struck harder than he expected. The contract ends in November. Yes, so you're preparing now. She stopped folding. If I don't, I'll pretend it isn't happening. Nathaniel walked into the room slowly. And is that what you want? What I want doesn't matter. It matters to me. She looked at him then. Anger rose in her eyes, but there was pain beneath it. Don't do that. Do what? Act like we didn't agree. I know what we agreed. Then don't look hurt when I remember it. He deserved that. Still, it cut. Avery turned away. You told me not to fall in love with you. Nathaniel could barely breathe. Yes, you wrote it down like a warning label. I know. You don't get to become someone I could love and then act surprised when I protect myself from the ending you designed. Silence filled the room. Nathaniel stepped closer. Avery, no. Her voice broke. I need you to leave. He wanted to tell her then. I love you. Stay. Forget the contract. But she was shaking, and he understood suddenly that a confession could be selfish, if offered only to relieve his own pain. So he left, not because he wanted to, because she asked. The next morning, Avery found a revised contract on the kitchen counter. Not a divorce agreement, not an extension, a release. Nathaniel had signed it. It stated that Avery would receive the full payment immediately. Her father's care would remain funded. Lily's college account would remain untouched. Avery could leave at any time without penalty. At the bottom, in Nathaniel's handwriting, were 3 lines. You are not trapped here. You owe me nothing. Not even goodbye. Avery read it 3 times. Then she sat down on the kitchen floor and cried. Because freedom should not have hurt like heartbreak. September tested them. The board discovered irregularities, not in the marriage itself, but in the timing of their courtship. A private investigator hired by Nathaniel's cousin found no photographs, no mutual friends, no evidence of romance before the courthouse wedding. The inheritance was challenged. The board demanded a formal review. Victor Cross's old ally smelled blood. If the marriage was deemed fraudulent, Nathaniel could lose controlling shares. Worse, Avery could be dragged into court. Nathaniel's attorneys prepared statements. Carolyn recommended strengthening the public narrative. More appearances, more interviews, more proof. Nathaniel refused. No. Carolyn stared at him across the conference table. No, we will not use Avery. Nathaniel, the entire agreement depends on public credibility. The agreement is over. Avery, seated beside him, looked up sharply. Carolyn blinked. It is not over legally. It is over morally. Avery's heart twisted. Nathaniel continued, voice steady. I will not force her to perform affection, so I can keep her company. Carolyn lowered her pen. You may lose everything. Nathaniel looked at Avery. Not everything. Avery could not speak. For months, she had wondered whether he would choose power when the cost became real. Now the choice stood in front of her. Quiet and devastating. He was willing to lose the empire he had been raised to inherit. Not to keep her, but to protect her right to leave. That was when Avery understood. Nathaniel Cross had fallen first. But she had fallen too. She had fallen somewhere between the cancelled dinner and the hospital hallway. Between his terrible soup and the way he listened when she spoke about her mother. Between the man who wrote rules to keep love out and the man who rewrote a contract to set her free. The board hearing took place on a Friday morning. Nathaniel wore navy instead of black. Avery noticed. You hate navy, she said in the car. I don't hate navy. You once called it emotionally indecisive. That sounds like something you would say. You said it about Ethan's jacket. Nathaniel looked pained. I was under stress. You were jealous. I was observant. She smiled faintly. Then the smile faded. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. You could still win if we follow Carolyn's plan. I know. And you're choosing not to. He looked at her. I spent my life believing control was the same thing as strength. Then you walked into my home and treated every locked room like it was sad instead of impressive. Avery's throat tightened. I never meant to change you. You didn't change me. His voice softened. You saw me. That was worse. The hearing lasted 4 hours. Avery waited outside. She was not called in. Nathaniel made sure of that. At 1:17 p.m., the doors opened. Carolyn came out first, unreadable as ever. Then Nathaniel. Avery stood. Well, he looked tired, pale, strangely peaceful. I lost the controlling shares. Avery's heart dropped. Nathaniel. I retained a minority position. The board appointed an interim chair. My cousin looks insufferably pleased. This isn't funny. No, he said. But it is strangely quiet. She stared at him. He stepped closer. I told them the marriage began as a legal arrangement. Avery went still. You what? I told them you fulfilled every term honestly. I told them you were not responsible for the structure my grandfather created or the pressure I placed on you by offering money you badly needed. Avery's eyes burned. You told the truth. Yes, you hate losing. I do. And Nathaniel looked at her like the entire city had disappeared. And I hate becoming a man you respect more. Avery pressed a hand to her mouth. Reporters waited outside the building. Cameras flashed when they emerged. Questions flew like stones. Mr. Cross, is your marriage real? Did you deceive shareholders? Mrs. Cross, were you paid? Nathaniel stepped slightly in front of Avery. Then Avery took his hand. Not for the cameras, not for the contract, for him. He looked down at their joined hands, stunned. A reporter shouted, Mrs. Cross, do you have a comment? Avery lifted her chin. Yes. Nathaniel turned to her. Avery's voice shook, but it did not break. The marriage began as an agreement. That part is true. The cameras flashed faster, but people are not contracts. Sometimes they become more honest than the reasons that brought them together. Nathaniel's hand tightened around hers. Avery looked at him. And whatever happens next, I want it to be real. For once, Nathaniel Cross forgot the cameras. He forgot the company. He forgot every lesson that had taught him to hide. He only looked at his wife and whispered, Avery. She smiled through tears. Don't make me repeat it in front of national media. He laughed then. Actually laughed. The clip went viral within an hour. Mia sent 17 messages, most of them unreadable, screaming. Lily wrote, Are you actually in love with your fake husband? Avery replied, Apparently. Lily replied, This is why I tell you to journal. Nathaniel lost the company, not all of it, but enough. For several months, his name became gossip. Some called him foolish, some called him noble. His father's old friends called him unstable. Nathaniel ignored most of them. He resigned from 2 boards, sold the penthouse, and moved into a smaller apartment downtown with exposed brick, imperfect floors, and windows that faced a noisy street. Avery loved it immediately. Nathaniel stared at the radiator. It hisses. It has personality. It sounds dangerous. So did you at first? He looked at her. Did I? Yes. Very handsome. Very emotionally unavailable. Very bad at soup. My soup improved. Your availability improved more. He wrapped his arms around her from behind. That still surprised her sometimes. How easily he touched her now. Not performatively, not cautiously, as if affection had become a language he was no longer afraid to speak badly. Their legal 1-year anniversary arrived in November. The original date, the ending date. Avery found Nathaniel in the kitchen that morning, making coffee. On the table sat the old contract. Her stomach tightened. What is that doing here? Nathaniel turned. I thought we should honor the occasion by traumatizing me before breakfast, by ending it properly. He placed the contract between them and handed her a pen. Avery frowned. What are we signing? Nothing. He picked up the contract and tore it in half. Avery blinked. Then he tore it again, and again, until the pages that had once defined their marriage lay in pieces across the table. Avery stared. That was probably legally unnecessary, emotionally necessary. She smiled. You're learning drama. Your influence has been catastrophic, obviously. Nathaniel reached into his pocket. Avery froze. Nathaniel, I know you already have a ring. You gave me that ring for the contract. I know. He opened his hand. Inside was a simple gold band with a small oval diamond. Not enormous, not cold. Beautiful in a quiet way. This one is not for a performance, he said. Avery's eyes filled. Nathaniel took a breath. I don't want 1 year. I don't want rules designed by fear. I don't want a wife who stays because a contract says she must. His voice trembled slightly, only slightly, but Avery heard it. I want mornings, arguments, your aggressive daisies, your sister raiding our fridge, your father pretending not to like me. I want to learn warmth badly and spend the rest of my life getting better at it. Avery laughed through tears. Nathaniel, I love you, he said. Not because you saved me, not because you fixed me, because you saw the worst architecture in me and still believed there might be a door somewhere. She covered her mouth. He stepped closer. Avery Lane Cross, will you marry me again? This time with no end date. She looked at the torn contract, then at the man who had once warned her not to love him because he had not understood that he was the one in danger. Yes, she whispered. Then, because she was Avery, she added, but only if you never describe yourself as architecture again. Nathaniel smiled. I'll try. She kissed him before he could say anything else. Not for cameras, not for inheritance, not for survival, for love, real love, the kind that arrived unexpectedly and ruined every careful plan. Years later, people still love telling the story of Nathaniel and Avery Cross. Some told it like a fairy tale. The poor girl married the rich CEO and won his heart. Avery hated that version. Nathaniel hated it more. She didn't win my heart, he would say. She found it in terrible condition and filed several complaints. Avery would roll her eyes. He was dramatic before me. Don't let him blame this on marriage. The truth was quieter. She married him for 1 year. He fell first. She fell carefully. And together, they learned that love was not proven by perfect beginnings. Sometimes love began as paperwork. Sometimes it wore a ring for the wrong reasons. Sometimes it started with rules. No love, no jealousy, no staying. Then it broke every one of them. Not all at once, but gently, honestly, completely. And every morning after that, in an apartment that did not echo, Nathaniel Cross woke beside the woman who had been paid to leave him and thanked every impossible thing in the world that she chose to stay.